The hardest part was not running back to what was familiar when the healing got heavy. Welcome back. So glad you're here. If you're new here, this is episode 7. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 is listed in the description. You should probably watch them in order, because if you don't, today won't land as hard as it could for you. So last week I told you something, and I meant it as a warning as much as a promise. And what I told you was, coming home to who you are is going to cost you who you learned to be. Sit with that. I wonder if some of you went home and you even felt some of that this week. At some point I had some challenges, but what are we feeling? Last week I told you today we were going to go somewhere tender. And here we are. Today is about the pain of becoming. Pain hurting is not the evidence that you are doing wrong. You see, here's what no one told me. Healing would hurt more than hiding did. Clarity would confront me more than comfort did. And stepping into purpose would feel more often than I expected, like stepping into fire. We glamorize transformation. We post the after, and we skip the middle. But the middle is where it actually lives. And the middle is the wilderness. It's wild, it's sacred, and completely unpredictable. I want to name some things that we all may be living with right now. You see, they called it, you're going backwards. But it is actually, you are grieving. You cannot unsee what God has shown you. And that revelation cost you something on the way in. They called it, you're being difficult. It is actually, you stopped being easy to manage. That is not difficulty. That is a boundary that used to be missing. They called it, you're losing people. It is actually, you are discovering which relationships were built on your silence. That's not loss. That is information. And they called it, you're too emotional. It is actually, you spent years numb and called it strength. What you feel now is not weakness. It is thaw. You're unthawing, girl. And lastly, they called it, you should be over this by now. How dare they? It is actually, you are grieving a version of yourself that was praised in public and fracturing in private. That deserves mourning, not a deadline. You see, I want you to drop a purple circle in the comments and tell me, which one have you been calling failure? I'm reading every single one of them, pulling myself out of that thinking, because I know I'm not failing, I'm becoming. But I have to be honest with you, because this, as I've always said, is never theory for me. When I started this, I thought the hardest part would be identifying what was broken in me. But it wasn't. The hardest part was not running back to what was familiar when the healing got heavy. There were nights I whispered through tears, God, why does this hurt so much? I expected healing to feel like lightness, but it felt like labor. Ladies that have children, you know what that feels like. I had to sit long enough to notice I'd been using busyness to outrun the pain. I had to weep through the numbness I used to call strength. I had to forgive people who will never say they're sorry. I had to admit I was still grieving things I had publicly declared I had handled. That admission didn't make me weak. It made me open. And openness is what lets God in. Here's the thing that changed it all for me. The revelation of this notion right here. Make sure you listen to this one. Pain is not always punishment. Sometimes it's proof that a wound is finally being acknowledged. Sometimes it is the necessary ache of resurrection, because God does not always heal what we hide. He heals what we hand over. And handing it over hurts, not because he's cruel, but because you have to actually open your hand. You see, Romans 8, verse 18 says, "Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later." See, right there, I want you to sit with what Paul chose. There's a word that he chose. He said compared. He is not dismissing our pain. He is not telling us it is not real or that we shouldn't feel it. He is telling us that it is not the whole equation. There is another number on the other side, and that number is bigger. Our ache is real. It's just not final. Now, here's what I didn't understand at the beginning. The pain of becoming is the tension between who you've been and who God is calling you to be. That tension is not failure, it is formation. It is the ache of identity rearranging itself. You are not falling apart. We are not falling apart. We are shedding the weight of every false name that we were handed. It feels like loss. It's actually alignment. You cannot carry a purpose and pretend at the same time. And ladies, we cannot build a legacy while clinging to the lies. And we cannot walk in freedom while apologizing for needing it. So let me hand you some permission before you go today. Becoming is not always exciting, but sometimes just exhausting. But that exhaustion does not mean you're failing. It means you're carrying something that matters. Do not let the weight fool you. The weight is a witness, evidence of what's inside you, and it's real. Some days, becoming looks like praying through the tears. Some days, it looks like resting while shame screams that you haven't earned rest. Some days, it says no to someone you love because you finally start loving yourself well. None of that is glamorous. All of it is holy. You're not weak for feeling the weight. You are not courageous for continuing to carry it. You are brave for choosing to heal in a world that taught you to hide. Becoming is not the opposite of brokenness. It is the purpose inside of it. And the ache you are feeling right now is not your ending. It is the sound of a new life. Truth taking up space where those lies cannot live. So if you are in a messy middle right now, battling doubt, sitting in grief, aching for comfort of who you used to be, hear me out. God is not distant from your process. He's guiding it. Every tear is counted. Every breath is known. Every chapter is seen. And he is not finished with you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And it is worth it. Leave me a comment before you go. I'm in these comments, ladies. Let's work together to help one another. Remember the commandment, love thy neighbor as thyself. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I will be also. That's what he told us. We can gather, we can help, support one another. We're greater in numbers. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you've been actually calling failure, but it's truly your formation, your becoming. Share this with a woman that's been in the middle for so long that she forgot the middle isn't the end. Next week, we step into prophetic identity. What happens when you stop waiting to feel it and you start declaring it? Now, you see that you don't want to miss. As I shared, I'm so glad you made it here today. But I want you to always remember.
Pray, we forgive, we rise, we are royal, we are kingdom.